Okay, people, today let's take a quick look at the Boss Fight Studios Epic Hacks Mel Blanc Deco samples. Didn't he voice Bugs Bunny? But no, special thanks to Boss Fight Studios for sending me out some early samples of these because I was interested. They're blank bodies for customizing. But remember, they are deco samples. In fact, the little post-it note that they sent along with it does say still tweaking. I don't know what still tweaking means. It may be adjusting tolerances, the articulation in places, the sculpt a little here and there, but we're gonna look at these as they are right now. Right off the bat, you'll notice that there are 3 different color schemes for these. There's a grayscale, there's a darker skin tone, and there's a lighter skin tone. But that's the only difference. Otherwise, it's the same sculpt, same accessory. So we only really need to look at one. Take it for a test drive, go through all the fine details and articulation. As far as the sculpt goes, I am not an expert in musculature, so I'm just gonna say this is peak human male. Just look at that form. Has some pecs, has some abs, has some biceps, some shoulders, some traps. Are those traps? Some leg muscles, the shin bones connected to the foot bone, or well, in this case, it's a shoe. But there's options there. We'll get to that. Fairly clean, fairly lean. This is going to be one of your more agile types. It's not overly jacked. It's just very, 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 very toned. I am noticing a sheen difference between the different plastics. The torso is shiny, but then there's a matte to the arms because it's a different material. Then get down to the hands and there's a shininess again. And I don't know if that will be addressed on the final product, but I don't know if it needs to be addressed because it's for customizing. It's for painting. It's for covering up with soft goods. So does it matter if the plastics look different? Oh, well, I guess it would if you're using the skin tone bodies, but even then you'd want to add a little shading or some wash to it. And then after that, you'll hit it with a dull coat or a Mr. Hobby, Mr. Super Clear matte just to knock down that shine. So, customizing. These are meant for customizing. The sheens doesn't really bother me. All 3 of them out of the baggie had this superhero masked head, and there it looks pretty good. It has the nose cover and coming up to a point and the exposed face and yeah, okay. There's a little mask line around the eyes. And it's a good sculpt to the parts of the face that are exposed, but then you get to the cowl or the mask or whatever, and it's just smooth, as it should be. A couple of wrinkles, you can see the ear underneath, angry brow. With that and the nose, I'm thinking of some ears up on top, which is easy just to sculpt. Or I'd leave it like this, modify it some other way, customizing. Articulation-wise, there is a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck, but it has a kick in the bar like what we see with Mafex. With the bar kicked forward, you're going to get more down movement because that's the way the bar goes, and then up is about right there. But if you take that bar and turn it around and then pop the head back on, you can get more up head movement. There's also still good down movement. Whenever I see those bent bars like that, I usually leave them in the bent back position. Tilt, tilt, very nice. Hey, where'd those other 2 guys go? Butterfly joint at the shoulder goes forward, goes back. Pin coming out to the shoulder rotates all the way around, and then a hinge goes up to here. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow goes all the way up, but if you push it to the limit, I do notice that it mars the plastic just a bit here. I guess because it goes so thin, and when I first moved it, I brought this to here, and it kicks into the joint part right there, and then I use that as a lever to go up more. And see, it's gonna push against there. So I don't know if that can be avoided or if that's one of the things that are still being tweaked. I don't know. Swivel at the wrist with a hinge going up and down on a weapon wielding hand, maybe a sword, maybe a knife. Dumbbell joint mid-torso, ball joint in the waist allows for this much crunch, an arc back, and tilt for both sections, over to here, and then rotation. Ball coming out to the hip, swings up, swings back, not so much, out, really nice. Then the leg is sculpted to come up over that, to come all the way up to the hip. So there is a thigh swivel, but it's not just a straight line across. Double knee kicks up to, bing! And I got a little bit of that same stress mark right here, but also pushed it all the way up to his ass. So hinge at the ankle goes back, goes forward, and then front-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, there is this H.A.C.K.S stand, and it threw me off that there's 4 pegs. Don't see that a lot. In the package, the figure came with 2 gripping hands with up and down hinges. Then there's 2 fists, and then 2 splayed out hands with a lot of sculpt to them. They are very, very detailed. And that should just pull out, and then we put the other hand in. Not a problem. And it's one of those double pops. One pop leaves some gap for maybe extra range of articulation forward and back, but then there's another pop to take out the gap, and that looks nice. It's very emotive. And there's also the fist. Remember I pointed out there are shoes or boots down here for the feet. There's also an alternate pair of bare feet. Not bare feet, bare feet. I haven't tried this, but I'm guessing that they just pull off, and it's the same type of peg with the double pops. And yes, I nearly went straight down and thought, wait, that can't be right. That is the foot peg for the stand. You want to go into the front peg hole. Okay, it didn't seem like it was popping all the way on, so I hit it with a heat gun and boom, it went right on there. So a little bit of heat fixes everything. In fact, remember the stress marks? That's all it took. Even fixed the other side too. Then there's the heads. Superhero head. There's also this head, and this head. That's not bad at all for 3 different head sculpts. Well, 4. Gotta count this one too. And like I mentioned at the first, all the figures have the same accessories. Same hands, same feet, same heads. Same for the masked heads, just to reiterate, just to make sure. Would you focus, camera? Figure stands at about 6 3/8 to the top of the hair. And yes, the covered feet with the soles on bottom does add a little bit of height to them. But they are pretty much Hasbro Marvel Legends height. A little bit thinner than Vulcan, which is their new standard body, but it still fits within that scale range. A little big and muscular for Hasbro Star Wars Black Series, but you can still fudge it in there, not a problem. Jada Toys Street Fighter, Jada Toys Universal Monsters, 4 Horsemen Cosmic Legion's Tusk, Medicom Mafex Hush Superman, and Medicom Mafex Jim Lee X-Men Wolverine, Mezco 1/12 Collective Joker, and the Fresh Monkey Fiction Naughty or Nice Sergeant Santa. So at the end of the day, just very nice base bodies, very nice, clean, customizing bodies. And really that's exactly what they set out to do. Mission accomplished. Now they are thinner base bodies, which works really well with soft goods when you're putting layers on. You don't want big muscular body and then it just looks puffier. I gotta think if these sell well, they'll do more body types. They'll do some mediums, they'll do some large, they'll do some hulking. And I can use any and all body types, any and all sizes. There's characters ranging from small to large to everywhere in between. And I'm really interested in the female body types because those are even harder to come by. At least nicely articulated and clean. There's usually stuff sculpted on them that you have to take care of if you're going to use them for custom bodies. So yeah, a nice clean female body, I want to look at that too. And remember, still tweaking. I do not know what that pertains to, but these are good as is. I can't even imagine, maybe the wall on the inside of the elbows maybe, or I don't know, maybe a little easier to swap parts or tighten them up or something. I don't know. I don't know. But it can only be improvements because I'm dang happy with these. And they aren't even finished product. So onward and upward. We'll see what happens.